Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Shear, and welcome to another episode of Business Minds Coffee Chat. The goal of this show is to share insights, help to lift and inspire others, and deliver relevant, meaningful, and actionable content. Imagine amazing, fresh, premium brewed coffee, specialty coffee drinks, frozen beverages, teas, hot chocolate, baked goods, and breakfast sandwiches. Tempting, right? Well, our guest today was so tempted that 7 years ago, he became an owner-operator of Florida's first Big B Coffee, the fastest growing coffee chain in the US. Originally from Southfield, Michigan, Randy is a father, a cycling enthusiast, an entrepreneur, a real estate agent, a fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and an inspiring heart-led leader. I am honored to welcome Randy Frank. Randy, welcome.
Thank you, Jay.
It is great to see you.
Great.
So I wanted to take us back for a moment, and you grew up in Southfield, Michigan.
I did, and I'm really grateful, Jay. I was thinking about it this morning. I grew up in the mid 70s and the 80s, and it was Midwest at its best. Really a great time. Dad went to work, mom stayed home and raised me and my brother. Kids would knock on your door in the morning. Hey, can Randy come out and play? You would go out. The only rules was to get home by dinner time or you were in big trouble. And it was always a dinner that my mom would prepare. Everybody would sit around the dinner table and have family discussions, riding your bike, snowball fights and everything. Really great time to grow up. Now that as you said, I'm a father, my kid's 16. She's got all the technology, but unfortunately, I don't think she's going to experience some of the awesome things I did growing up in Michigan at that time.
So obviously we are in very different times right now. Growing up, did you always have that entrepreneurial spirit? Did you have a desire to own your own business? What fueled that?
I would say so. My first job was mowing neighbors' lawns and shoveling snow in the winter in a paper route. I always kind of had that little entrepreneurial spirit. Sold candy at school and in class when I should have been listening to the teacher. Maybe that's where it all stemmed from. It did take a great while to actually do it, to become an actual entrepreneur. Generally, it takes a good couple years for people from, thinking about doing it and actually doing it. A lot of that is fear of just not knowing how to do it. But it does take some time. And like you said, we've been in business for 7 years and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love it.
Well, let's talk about that fear for a moment, because the fear that you talk about in actually doing something and moving forward to try to reach your goals, your dreams, whatever that happens to be for you. What was that fear like, and what was it that finally pushed you over the edge and said, I've got to do this?
I was mostly a restaurant guy, and there comes a time in every restaurant guy's career to spread their wings and go out on their own. And for me, that was around 2013. I was going to do something my own, not a franchise, not picking up with the assistance of anybody else. And at that time, 2013, if you guys recall, here in Ormond Beach area, businesses were popping up and shutting down left and right. So the economy was kind of goofy, especially for restaurants. It was really scary, but I still had that drive. I had to do something. And then a great friend of mine brought up Big B. And I was like, well, why would I do a franchise when I could do it myself? And I learned more about it. It's from Michigan, my old stomping ground. So I knew all the excitement around it. And the more I learned the benefits of a franchise and how you could just come out of the gates starting up, it was intriguing. And then, of course, I went to Michigan and tasted the product, and then I was sold. So that's how I got into it. And that was my first baby, the first thing that I've done with that entrepreneurial spirit.
Nice. So when you were living in Michigan, growing up there, had you been familiar with Big or let's go back. What year did Big actually start?
1995, and it started in East Lansing, College Town and stuff. I knew about it, but before I moved to Florida, I was in downtown Detroit. I wasn't a daily customer. I knew of the excitement because they were popular, and now it's saturated in Michigan and 12 states now. But I had to reconnect with it after moving to Florida. So I didn't have the luxury of growing up with all the excitement. I kind of had to get reacquainted with it years later.
Well, one of the things that has just absolutely blown me away about your location is the culture that you've created there. The people in any business make all the difference in the world. And every time I've walked into your location, it just, you feel like you're home. You feel like you are in front of people that you've known all your life. So let's talk about culture for a moment. Let's talk about your hiring practices and how you have been able to build such an amazing team and create that type of culture that allows all of those individuals to thrive in that environment.
Thank you for the compliment. All the Big B's, part of the deal is to engage the customers. That's what kind of interests me in the beginning, because that was like, up my alley. I got great retention at the store. Christian and many others have been with me since day one. I don't have any secret formula other than treat them with love and compassion and direct them in the right way. Everybody that I work with I'm really close with. I encourage them to know our customers by name. It's just a perfect storm. We got great customers, great employees. We all intermingle. We all help each other out. Got the most flexible schedule. We're all rooting for each other. And there were really not too many bad apples along the way. I'm really fortunate. And when I did start, I thought the product itself was going to put us on the map because it's great. But really what everybody talks about is the staff and the personalized experience you get when you come to the store.
Interesting. Well, clearly you have to have a great product or a great service. I mean, at a minimum, that has to be there. Mm-hmm. And then above and beyond that, the people just knock it out of the park, and your product is consistently good. It's, there's lots of options in the market. There's different coffee shops on every corner. And when I think about Big B Coffee and I think about your location in particular, and when I see people coming and going and why they choose to pull in there versus going somewhere else, again, I'm going to tie it right back to that sense of that connection, that human connection with people. And it's interesting to hear your take on it, that there's no secret sauce or magic formula to it. I would say you're probably not giving yourself as much credit as you're due, because it takes a very strong leader with the right moral compass, with the right connection with the people, with the right ability to coach and to inspire, to help others grow. and to help others become leaders in their role. And when I see the interaction amongst your team members there and the way that they talk about not only your product, but they talk about life inside those walls there and the way they talk about you, it's quite amazing. So
Thank you.
yeah, that's something that if you could bottle that and be able to provide that to other business owners, it would be a huge hit in addition to your coffee.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to add anything to it, there's a lot of old cliches like you got time to lean, you got time to clean and stuff like that. One thing that I kind of picked out there, I don't know who I stole it from, instead of like focusing on the customers first, you focus on your employees. If you take great care of your employees, they'll take care of your customers. So you don't want to skip over them and focus all your attention on your customers and cup count and everything. Take care of your employees and they'll take care of everything that needs to be done for you.
Yeah, that's a very important lesson. And you would think that would be common sense, Randy, and that's not always common practice.
This is true.
Yeah. So let's talk about.
You froze up on my end.
Are you back?
Hey, welcome back.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. All right. So where I was going was, let's talk about what's happening in the world right now. This pandemic is obviously touching and affecting all of us in one way or another, and it's having a significant impact on businesses across the country and across the world. What is quite amazing to see is how businesses are looking at this. Some businesses are looking at this as an opportunity for change, as an opportunity for doing things differently, as an opportunity for pivoting and figuring out how can we continue to serve our clients, do business, and still thrive and succeed through this very, very challenging time. So let's talk about what's going on in your business. How is this pandemic impacting Biggby Coffee?
Thankfully, it feels like everything's lightening up a little bit. But anyways, it's been surreal. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Friday the 13th is when it kind of started hitting me and when it became real. So first and foremost, of course, you follow all the CDC, local and state guidelines. Of course, I mean, if they wanted me to shut down, I would have. You have to stay informed, and I like to stay informed with more than one source. I've been monitoring Sheriff Chitwood's Facebook page for information, which was great. Of course, social media, we all watched the news, which was frightening at times, but it had the information you needed. Talk to people that come in your store. If you have a few different sources of information, then you can make intellectual decisions instead of emotional decisions. You might be leaning towards like, oh, shut the doors, this is crazy, or anything. So you just want to, keep your composure, get all the information you can, and make those intellectual decisions, because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting other people, coworkers, customers, families, this, that, and the other. So definitely do your due diligence of being informed. And of course, when things started going down, you do like different phases of schedule, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. You wish for the best, you prepare for the worst. I trimmed a couple hours at one time, but we've maintained the same hours, luckily. but we had backup and contingency plans. I removed all the indoor and outdoor furniture, of course, the basics. We already have systems in place for sanitizing and cleaning periodically. We beefed that up, of course. So place barriers in between the customers and baristas. And let's see what else. Went on a bigger platform with DoorDash to get more visibility and all that. One of those pivots you're talking about that people are taking advantage now, and you're going to see they're going to continue once this pandemic, that was wood, passes us. Let's see. We got Apple and Google Tap Pay, so there's less touching and all that. And as far as my employees, boy, every day, face-to-face live conversations. How are you? Do you feel comfortable working here? Please know that there's no judgment, no harm, no foul. If you do not feel comfortable, making sure everybody is just informed, as well as knowing that it's not a bad deal if they just don't want to work. Luckily enough, everybody is stuck with me. Group, when everything was going down, group chats with up to minute updates on what's to become with information that we got. And other than that, just for the longest time, it was just taking it day by day, because it could be totally different. Your whole paradigm could shift with one update. But like I said, I truly feel things are calming down a little bit. And most of all, take it seriously and be compassionate. Some people view the whole pandemic a little differently than others. Everybody's opinion is great. Just take it seriously and do the best you can, and have some backup plans.
So talking about the delivery service, also the touchscreen devices, was all of that put into place after this started?
I worked with DoorDash before, but Big B is a franchise. And I got to give them props too. They had an immediate response with all sorts of stuff. One of which is they made a deal with DoorDash where we got a discounted fee. We already had the tap pay and all that. But the franchise had daily meetings. They had coronavirus updates. They made curbside systems to make it easier for you if you weren't doing curbside. Curbside's something that we kind of played with, but now it's like a thing. But some of those nuances, we probably were doing them before, but they were just more systemized and made a little bit more concrete, and they'll stick with us after all this.
So talking about your employees for a moment, have you had to furlough any employees? Have you been able to keep the entire staff intact and have enough hours for them?
Absolutely. When I was talking about intellectual and emotional decisions, I have to be honest with you. I cut one shift from each one of my 7 employees in the beginning, and it was kind of just a jerk move, knee jerk, that is. But other than that, everybody's maintained their same hours. It's seamless as far as the hours and pay that they've got. So we're grateful, and that's due to our customers coming in all the time and supporting their local coffee shop. It's been great.
Wow. That's fantastic. So without getting into specifics on revenue, I'm not going to ask you that, but I am curious, from a percentage standpoint, is your business, is it significantly off? What does that look like for you as a whole?
Well, last month when everything began, it was a flat liner. We were even numbers, like 0.1% off from the previous year's number. So it was a wash. I was grateful, because that's when it was really scary and new, and people just kind of like were not to be seen. This month, we started out a little bit low. The lowest that we got was like about 13% lower from last year. Now we're on the upswing, and just the feeling of everybody coming in and the traction that we have been seeing in the last 5-6 days, we'll be on the upswing, and we'll be up from last year for sure this month, unless something happens differently.
That's fantastic, Randy.
I am so grateful. And I know a lot of business owners in the area, and not everybody can say that in different industries. So thank you, Orman.
For sure. Well, I wanted to chat about the conversations that you're having now with not only your employees, but with your clients and your customers, and how those conversations are different today than they were prior to this pandemic. One of the things that I've certainly seen in conversations that I'm having with other business leaders, with people in the community, is the conversations are deeper now. They just seem to be more, there's such a stronger connection. There's much more emotion, there's love, there's just pure heart caring. And I look at that and I say, that's a beautiful thing. What about you? What kind of conversations are you having, and how do they differ?
And I would agree with you. It's almost like a tangible, we all have something in common, and we're all a little bit more vulnerable and exposed. We still have a 10-foot pole in the back where we don't really want to touch on, politics of this, or, if you're seeing a couple hundred people each day, somebody's going to have a conspiracy theory or not take it seriously. We try not to delve into that. We're more compassionate. How are you? How's the family? Do you know anybody that's suffering from this? Have you seen so-and-so? Of course, we saw a dip in our older beloved customers, and if their family comes in, we're asking, where's Amy? How's Amy doing? Is she staying inside? Does she feel good? Very, very personal, and try not to get into it where, honestly, our goal is when you leave, you should be in a better mood than when you came in. So we don't want to be a Debbie Downer or a fear mongerer, but it's important, and, try to keep it light.
Understood. So where do you see opportunities in this situation right now for your business moving forward? So when this passes, which it will,
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned the relationship with DoorDash, you mentioned Google Pay and some of the touchless opportunities there. What else do you see right now as opportunities for Big Coffee?
Well, they say in chaos there lies opportunity. So that's a valid question. Our competitor Starbucks, they're closed. So we're getting some of those customers seeing us for the first time, and we're going to wow them over, and we're going to have great retention. We're meeting new people, learning new names. A lot of the hospital workers at Advent. Also, I sell franchises for Big. That's another hat that I wear. And seeing retail and all these other industries taking a major hit. We as a whole, as a company, we took a hit, but it's been manageable, and it's kind of impressive. One could toot their own horn in the coffee industry. Not saying it's a recession-proof business or whatever, but it's definitely something that makes sense if anybody wanted to get involved in a franchise, because everybody loves coffee, and it's an addiction that we approve of. So I think those two things for sure. I am looking forward to this new platform with DoorDash. You pay for it, but essentially after you get to a certain point, it can create a lot more revenue. And I think on an emotional level, just being there for the community, for all the people that come in, and we do talk to them and make them feel better before they leave. I think that's endearing. And my core customer group is solid, but this just is going to make it even more solid. So those are three things right off the bat that I think we're going to pick up from this experience we're all trying to navigate our way through.
Very good. So let's talk about goal setting for a moment and your business goals and what you had for 2020. How does what is going on today impact those business goals? And do you still see being able to achieve what it is that you set out for yourself to accomplish this year?
Well, we definitely would have been up last month, but we flatlined. I'm grateful for, but that's a step backwards. I got a couple franchisees that kind of hit the pause button on adamantly getting to the next level. And I understand that. So I feel like I'm just losing some time mostly. And hopefully the feeling that this is kind of lightening up, and I think this month everything should hopefully be open up. I think we can get back on track, but most of all, lost a lot of time, lost a little bit of time.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of other business owners feel very similar and share that same sentiment. And
Absolutely.
so, Randy, how do you stay positive and optimistic?
I'm a positive guy. It's just in my nature. But
Through all of what is
I'm just a positive guy in nature. That's the culture that we have at work. Everybody's in a great mood. It's just the environment that we're in. If things went differently, I may not be as positive. There was a few days where I was a little scared and biting my nails and everything, but someone's looking out for me, and we're surviving, and we're doing just fine. So, like this morning, I'm talking to my employees. They got their stimulus checks. One of my employees is going to put that towards a house. I mean, there's always a silver lining, always something good to look at. If you don't get caught up in, negativity or fear, all that stuff.
Well, I would say that's a very powerful message for all of us to remember, is to look for the good. And when we're focused on that, it's amazing what we're able to see, but we have to look at that with eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So for those that are watching, what would be the best way to connect with you to learn more about Biggby Coffee and to learn more about all the great products and services that you have to offer?
Well, the easy way is to come on in. We're at 1345 West Granada in Ormond Beach, across from Lowe's. I'm there quite often. You can go to www.biggby.com. That's got a plethora of all the information. My Facebook page, Biggby Coffee Ormond. We're posting stuff daily about whatever promotions we have, or anything we feel like may lighten up your day. And that's a great way to get to know Biggby. I'm on LinkedIn as well. We have an Instagram page, which is also Biggby Coffee Ormond. But if you haven't been already, I suggest you come on in.
Well, it is a great experience, no doubt about it. And one other thing, your location has a trivia question every day that you post on your board, and it's usually a really interesting fact-based trivia question. And do you happen to know what today's is?
Oh, I believe today's trivia question was what famous actor turned down the role of Magnum PI? Because Tom Selleck, of course, is the iconic guy with the mustache and the flower shirt. And does anybody know?
Oh my gosh. I do not know. Do you want to share that one?
It's Harrison Ford.
Really?
He had to go do this little movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark, so he passed up on hanging out with Higgins.
How about that? That is, that's amazing. Well, Randy, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Gave us an opportunity to learn more about you and learn more about Big Coffee and what you are doing right now to pivot through these challenging times, to still continue to thrive, to lead with greatness the way that you are, and to continue to help lift your team up and help them through this time as well, and bring a massive value to your customers. So thank you for all you do. I know I look forward to seeing you soon. And for the rest of you, thank you for watching. If you found value in this episode, please like and share. And until next time, my friends, stay healthy and optimistic. And remember that transformative change in your life and business begins with you, and nothing happens until you take action. Have a fantastic day. Randy,
Thank you, Jay.
again, thank you, my friend.